Research suggests as much as 42% of medicine distributed in Africa is counterfeit. These drugs can be, at best, ineffective and, at worst, toxic. Falsified medicines are also responsible for widespread anti-malarial drug resistance, according to a study published in Lancet. Following the money reveals sophisticated transnational crime syndicates. Professor David Katerere has been looking at South Africa's response to the problem. He found that while South Africa has a strong regulatory framework, it's not backed by a strong implementation strategy or political will. Let's hear more from him now. David, Professor, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Just how bad is the counterfeit medicine problem in South Africa? How common is it for counterfeit medicine to end up on shelves in stores or in homes?
So the good thing is that South Africa is safe because we have, very good systems here in which our products move through. So, they move through from regulated warehouses all the way to regulated outlets. So these may be pharmacies, these may be your shops, for instance. So from that point of view, South Africa actually does not have a fake medicine problem. I think the issue really comes in that we have to be preemptive and forward-looking and say to ourselves, this could happen because it actually happens anyway. And therefore, the law needs to be modernized, if you like. The biggest threat to fake medicines coming into the country is actually through persons ordering products via internet pharmacies, which operate outside of South Africa and outside of the jurisdiction of the regulators in this country.
So the current legislation we have isn't keeping up with the times?
Yeah, but yes. So legislation never does, because if you think about it, technology has moved on. When legislation came in, there was no trade over internet. People could not purchase products or move products around. Now, for instance, we do have internet pharmacies. South Africa is also kind of lagged behind in licensing such pharmacies. So those are some of the things that we need to look at. We also have fragmented pieces of legislation. So, for instance, in the current legislation, we really don't have codified in it what we would call pharmaceutical crimes, which might include counterfeiting or faking of medicines. So we tend to rely on the Counterfeit Goods Act, which is outside of the Medicines Act. And if officers of SAPRA come across something that is happening, they then have to call in the police. So there's also fragmentation in the law, and there's also fragmentation in the stakeholders and how they might work together.
The legislation is one thing. The implementation, you say, isn't great either, and that needs to improve.
Yeah, and it's probably a resource issue because what we need is really, first of all, creating awareness in the public mind, like we are doing now, having this conversation, so the public knows that these things are possible. I always say if you can get a fake Gucci bag in Santon, why can't you get fake Viagra in the same place? So the public then needs to be aware of where to get their medicines and what their medicines look like. From an implementation perspective, there will be need to police the marketplace a bit more. The regulator is very good at allowing registering products to get onto the market, but there isn't very strong what we call post-marketing surveillance in the marketplace. And that has to do with resources, but also with members of the public picking up things and reporting to the regulator as and when these things come up.
Professor, so why isn't the fight against counterfeit medicine being prioritized in your mind?
Well, we have a lot of priorities, right? So I think we will get to a point, because I think there's law reform that's going on. The other thing is there should be a regional focus rather than just one country focus. So these kind of things should be looked at even from a SADC perspective, so that the region is safe, not just one country.